Alright, let's go. So, today, new video, obviously, because we're back again here on the camera. Me talking to you. So, I'm going to talk about something that... Little topic. Sorry, I do this too often sometimes. Alright, I think we're good. So, I'm going to talk about something that actually I want to share that I've been experimenting with. So, as you guys probably don't know, I did a microfilm last week. No, yes, I did it Saturday, and I just finished editing it today. It took me about 3-4 days to edit it. It's like a 1-minute scene. It's nothing big. But I noticed something when I was editing it, and something very different happened this time around than if you watch my music video for Extravagant. That actually is not even on my channel. It's on the artist page, Andres, which you guys should totally go check out. Not because I want you to see my work, because I want you to listen to the dude's music. The shit is badass, alright? So go look up Andres on YouTube. Matter of fact, we're going to pull it up right now as I talk. So, I was looking, actually, what do I want to talk about? Do I want to promote them, or do I want to just talk about the topic? You know what? I'll just talk about the topic. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's like a million Andresses out there. Just type in Andres. You look at that. Andres. Let me turn up that brightness. Extravagant. Yeah, put that up. Right there. 404. Woo! Alright, so, not that the views fucking matter. But, I learned something when I was editing that video in comparison to the microfilm that I did today. And I started to experiment with this a bit, and I realized this has increased my workflow in such amazing ways. Okay? So, what I started to realize was, there was something I started to do, right? Where I'd get to a certain point, and then I'd hit mental blocks, right? So I'd go and I get everything figured out, and I know exactly what I was going to do, and then I get stumped, and then I'd be like, boom, don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I can't figure it out. You know, like, I literally hit the block, and I can't do any more, right? So I started to realize, and I used to do this actually a long time ago, back in like 8th grade and stuff when I was younger, and I kind of dropped it as I got older, because I used to think the opposite of what I'm about to tell you. Oh my god, that's so loud, it's distracting me. Hold on. So what happened was, I would take breaks. I would take walks around the block. I would go outside, right? And I started to do that. I started to do this on this editing project. Anytime I'd hit like a really bad roadblock, or like I'd just be completely stumped to the point where I was just not really focused on the work, I'd just start grabbing my phone. I'd fuck around. I'd zone out. I wouldn't even know. Like, I'm just like completely not fried, but blank. And I'm just at this mental block, and I can't get any further than this. So what I would do is I would just go outside. And I'd go outside for a few minutes and whatnot, or I'd go walk around the block. I would go do anything else that wasn't really work related. You know, I would literally go outside and just go fuck around or something, right? Give myself a little time away from the project. I'd save the project. I'd leave it there, and then I'd go outside or whatever. And then I'd come back, and then I'd instantly have it figured out exactly what I was going to do. I would be in a much more focused state of flow, and I could easily get the shit done just by taking that little break in between, right? And then, you know, I could take, depending on how long my editing sessions would last, I'd probably take like 1 or 2 breaks every single time, you know, throughout the day of the amount of time that I was going to edit for, right? And I noticed I was so different from what I did with Extravagant. Because with Extravagant, I would sit at the fucking desk, and I'd like be beating myself, like, you know, like, no, you gotta stay on this, like, don't get up from the chair, don't go do anything else, don't go stop. You know, like, stay on that computer. And even when I hit that mental block, I'd be like, just go through the mental block, like, don't let it stop you, like, keep going, no matter what. Dude, after that project, and I remember I would just keep doing this, and as I would do the project, I would just sit there, and I remember I'd be so stuck, I'd be zoned out, and then I'd start playing on my phone, and then I wouldn't realize how much time I wasted playing on my phone, And then I'd look at the project again, and I'd just be replaying it. I'd look at it, and I wouldn't get anything done because I was so roadblocked and stuck. And I was trying so hard just to keep pushing past it. And then next thing you know, 2 to 3 hours would pass, and you really look at it. Yeah, I sat up there for 2-3 hours, but I only really got like 2, 3, maybe 4 things done. So when you put that into context, I was like, wow. And then thinking about how yesterday I literally was able to just nail so much more productivity than I have ever done on a single day of Extravagant. And I was proud of myself for that. So when I started to realize that, I was like, all right, shit, something's like popping here. There's something, right? So what I'm encouraging is that you start taking something called rejuvenation or muse periods, right? Or just simply a break. The reason why, because I'm going to tell you this. After editing Extravagant, doing it that way, trying to beat myself through that mental block, I didn't want to edit anything else. I'm telling you, I was editing something else at the time. I didn't even go back to finish it for a while because, for a little bit. I was very hesitant. I hated editing. I hated it. I literally, after Extravagant and Visual Vlog 8, I was like, I want an editor. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not built for this. This is ridiculous. Like, this is like, nah, dude. And when I saw that happen to me, I was like, I really, really don't want to edit again. Like, I had another whole film I was supposed to edit right after that. And I almost didn't because I was just like, dude, I waited a bit. I was so hesitant to get into it because I knew how hard it was going to be. Because this was a longer scene. This was like 9 minutes long. And I'm like, dude, I can't do this shit. Because it burnt me to the point where I was just like, fuck editing. Like, I hated editing for that time. Eventually, though, fortunately enough, when I went back to that project, I was actually able to deliver a lot more. When I even deliver, like, I actually had more fun doing it for various other reasons. But, because of it actually being fun, I didn't mind working on the project for a while. So, oh my gosh. Skin. Okay, but what I noticed with this project is when I took those rejuvenation periods, when I took those minutes to be off on time, alright, just take a little break, go fuck around and do something, go play with the dog, go outside, go take some air, whatever, right? That shit works. And I'm gonna tell you something that actually kind of supports this. Elliot Holst was coming on a Instagram video the other day. He was like, some man, he asked, he's like, yo, Elliot, how do you always have ideas? How do you constantly always like have these things to talk about and do and stuff? He's like, he was bringing up Muse and stuff, and he said, he was bringing up how, I forgot who it was, but there was these amazing guys, and he said how they would go out on a boat, right? And him and his friend, they'd go out on a boat into the water, and they would just do nothing. They would just chill at the boat. They would just, that's what they would do. They'd go out onto the boat. And keep in mind, I forgot, this was like a really famous inventor. I think this was like Thomas Edison or something. I can't really remember. Like, this was on like that prestige. I'm pretty sure it was him, but he was bringing, did I say interleaved? Okay, I thought I said interlaced, and I don't know why they caught my attention. But he was bringing up how while they were sitting out on the water, that's when their best ideas would hit them. When they were fucking around. When they weren't really jamming their minds into what's the next idea. They weren't trying to squeeze their brain juices out. They allowed themselves to go into nature. They went onto a boat with each other. And in the time that they were thinking about it the least, they were just simply living. That's when the ideas hit them. That's when they got it. And I've experienced this before where I'd just be at complete peace, really doing nothing, not really spending a whole lot with my time. And boom, I get something fucking amazing, right? And I realize, you know, when you're not squeezing your brain juices out or trying to bash through mental blocks, it's when you take that time to just rejuvenate, it falls and then it all hits you at once. And that's why I like it so much. So I encourage you, whenever you're doing like creative stuff or whatever type of work you're doing, take a little rejuvenation period, right? Just try it, you know? So just take like a 10 to 30 minute break. Let yourself rejuvenate and charge when you hit that mental block, or, you know, you feel like you're at the point where you're just trying to squeeze out the last juices of your brain. Take that break, let yourself recharge and rejuvenate, go back, watch how much more efficient you are doing it. You might end up using a little more time, but you'll get so much more done. And you won't end up in a place where you hate doing the fucking thing anymore, right? You'll be keeping yourself in a fair state of flow, allowing your brain to be at a charged state. Because once you get to that burnt state where you're squeezing and you're trying to bash through, you're not in a state of flow, and you become very unproductive. You become very inefficient in that stage, as opposed to the opposite when you're in flow. Now, of course, you're not specifically entirely in flow, but you're like in a closer state to it than you would be just, right? Like for YouTube videos, I just let it come to me. Like, you know, I remember for a while, you know, sometimes I'd bash the topic out and I'd try and squeeze it out of my brain. But sometimes it's better just to go for a walk, go outside, and all of a sudden you catch yourself talking about something, and I'm like, all right, that's going to be today's video right there, right? I was talking about this yesterday, so literally that's why this is the video today. And there was something I was talking about earlier today, which is going to be the next video tomorrow. So, you know, by simply allowing your brain to rejuvenate for a short period of time, or hell, you could even try this, which I might experiment with. Just take a certain amount of time out of your day to just do nothing but have that rejuvenation period. And like when you're doing this, don't be like fucking around on your phone, going like scroll through Instagram. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking, you know, like I don't even take my phone with me when I go have my rejuvenation. My phone stays at the house, dog. Like you know, and it's not really struggling for me to leave my phone here. I just throw it on the bed and I'm out. I don't take my phone with me. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not texting all these other people. I'm not scrolling, not watching YouTube videos. I'm not playing video games or anything like that. Video games might not be a bad thing, but I'm not doing anything like in that sense. I'm literally just going outside. I'm literally just being in touch with my breath. Just being in touch with the moment. That's it. Just allowing myself to come back to the present, get away from all the analytical, all the thinking, all the creativity, all that juices that's been flowing. Just allow it a second to rest and recharge. That's all I'm doing. You know, and I'm not incorporating other bits of work. For this time that I'm rejuvenating, I'm literally just free-flowing. Living. Right? So I encourage you, try it. Either, you know, when you hit those mental blocks or you feel like you're trying to squeeze the juices out, take a small, tiny break off. You're gonna sacrifice some time. You'll come back and you'll be a lot more efficient. Give it a fucking shot. I'm telling you, try it. It might not work. It might work. But what's the harm in trying it out and to see? It's better to know, right? So, yeah. That's my advice on rejuvenation periods. I definitely recommend trying them in order to be more efficient. And I definitely recommend trying them in order to not burn yourself out. You know, you never want to get yourself to that point where you're squeezing. That's going to make you hate doing what you do. You're going to grow very, very angry about it, okay? Allow that rejuvenation charge period. Allow yourself to just relax, recharge. It's not so much you're taking a break because you're tired. You're just stuck, right? Like I was saying earlier about the story with Elliot. When they were out on the boat and they were fucking around, that's when their ideas hit them. That's when it got them, right? So if you're stuck with a hard problem or something, you know, sometimes you just go and you fuck around in a moment where this could be like just going to hang out with your friend for a bit, right? And then all of a sudden, you're just alone or something or whatever, and then bam, it hits you. That's the whole point of this. To let it hit you. To let yourself recharge, and then it makes sense. And then when you come back, you can flow through it again. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, I recommend trying those out. See how it works for you, and try incorporating into your workflow if you can, and see if it's something that you fuck with. If not, cool. If so, great. I'll say this, because I know someone's going to throw this counter argument on me. Someone's probably going to say, well, if you're having to take breaks, you know, are you really doing something that's good for you? Or are you really doing something that you actually love, in a sense? So here's what I'll say. Editing is not my most favorite thing to do, but it is actually pretty fun. It's not the thing that I love the most with my life, but it is really fun to do. I don't love it to the point where I can do it for hours and hours and hours and hours on end straight. Right? There's got to be a break somewhere in between. There's got to be a rejuvenation period. Because a lot of editing for me is very analytical. A lot of that, and not only analytical, but, you know, Alfred Hitchcock put it the best. You know, you're piecing, I think it was him who said it, you're piecing the mosaic together. And you're finding what pieces work together and what pieces might not. Right? And you're experimenting and you're seeing what goes together. And you're creating your mosaic. And sometimes it gets very, sometimes you just get drained out while making it. So sometimes the creative process takes a lot out of you. So, you know, you can't, and you can't play creativity in the sense to beat yourself 9 hours straight, bleeding out of your eyes, squeezing your brain juices out through art. Because at that point it doesn't become art, it becomes industry, it becomes machine. And that's not what you want. You want flow. You want creativity. You want natural, what's the word? You just want nature to flow through you. Not this machinery, sit down, shut up, do it. Right? You're almost training yourself the same way schools would train you. Allow yourself to receive the ideas. They will come to you. That'll play big time in the end. So that's kind of my counter to that. Sure, if you're going apathetic and yeah, you're probably not doing something that you love. However, if it's something you're incorporating into your workflow and you notice it's making you more efficient and you're okay with doing it, and it, you know, how do I put it? How much time do I have left to explain this point? Okay. Incorporating it into the workflow, and because here's the thing, if you're apathetic about the things that you're doing, regardless of whether you're doing this thing or not, I mean, regardless of whether you're in a flow period or not, you really need to reconsider how that's going for you, and whether that's something you should continue to do in either the style, fashion, or the whole thing together. For me, though, I just had to change up the style and a bit of the fashion and the way that I flowed, the way the workflow went, and it worked out. So bless up. Talk to you next time. Hopefully you found this useful, and Lego.